giving you an opportunity to get the full story from the people who tell it best. This is Mediacom News Leaders.
Hello everyone and welcome to Mediacom News Leaders. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Carol Kelly. Joining us today from Foundation 2, we've got Elisabeth Kissling. Elisabeth, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So timing is couldn't be better, right?
Yes.
We've got September Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, so we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys are going to be doing for that month. But first, Foundation 2, for those that might not be very familiar, can you tell us about that?
We have a range of services to help people experiencing crisis. And so we do that in a lot of different ways, but they can call our crisis line, which is available for the state of Iowa. They can chat or text if they maybe don't want to talk on the phone or someone's in the room or they prefer technology. We have counselors available that way. We have support groups for people with depression or anxiety or people who have lost someone in their life to suicide, both youth and adults. We have mobile crisis outreach that can go on location and support people face-to-face in the community. That's available 24/7, in-person support. We have a youth shelter for young people 11 to 17. And then we have independent living support for young people who have aged out of foster care.
Let's talk specifically who qualifies and who is able to use your resources.
Sure. For the most part, most of the services are available to anyone who is experiencing what is a crisis to self-defined. So if somebody calls us, we may recommend other services. We may tell them about the youth shelter or support group or other things. Maybe that one-time phone conversation is all they need. So we really, for the most part, let clients guide what services they need and how we can help them.
And is there a cost involved?
There is not. The only thing that there is a cost for is a sliding fee scale for family counseling through the youth shelter. Everything else we get grant support, United Way support, a mix of support in the community to allow us to help people during those difficult times without having to say, so how are you going to pay for this?
And so it could be as simple, like you said, as just a phone call. And could it be extended so that you can continually have services provided throughout the year?
Absolutely. For some people, our crisis line is on their coping skills plan, and they maybe are working with a therapist and other supports, but they know that when I feel like this, I'm going to call the crisis center, and we can work with their therapist with the release to work on the plan that they have to stay well, and so that can be ongoing support. Some people just need a service one time. I will say, especially for our support groups who've lost someone to suicide, it's like a second family. You know, the other people really understand what they're going through. And when people first start going to the group, they might need a little more help, but in a few years, they might be in a better place able to support the new people. So that is one of the services that really tends to be more ongoing.
Well, we've got to jump right in. Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Talk to us about this and why it's important, especially to your organization.
Yeah, so September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. We will have a slate of activities and things that we are sharing just to bring awareness to suicide prevention, because it is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States and the 9th leading cause of death in Iowa. And we know that on average a person dies by suicide every 18 hours in the state of Iowa. And we can do better to support people in the community. So we feel like with awareness about resources and warning signs, we can help to save lives.
And what are you guys doing to raise awareness in September?
We have a list of different activities. We will have daily social media posts with information and activities for people. I'm reaching out to faith communities to encourage them to say a prayer for people in their communities that are struggling with thoughts of suicide or who have lost someone. There is a Reason to Fight Suicide Awareness Ride in Manchester on the 7th of September. The Hope Walk is on the 21st. And then on September 10th, it's Suicide Prevention Awareness Day. We are encouraging everyone to light a candle at 8 p.m. in memory of someone that they lost or to show their support for suicide prevention. So we hope to have some candles available.
Let's talk about that. It's World Suicide Prevention Awareness Day and just the importance. Obviously, you always want to be thinking about and supporting. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, it's just a day where everyone is thinking about and showing their support for suicide prevention. So we are looking at, some other things available that day. We are looking for funding to have candles to provide to people so that everyone can show pictures of their candles and tell their friends and family why that's important to them.
Talk to us about how I can support someone that may have had thoughts of suicide.
We like to say that everyone plays a role in suicide prevention. And if you see a friend or family member that seems like things are a little different, they might be a little off, ask them, are you okay? Are you having thoughts of suicide? Often people are worried that that might give them ideas. what we have found is that it's a relief for people. Like, finally, I have a safe person I can talk to. And then together you can connect with help, which might be our crisis line or mobile crisis outreach or other services. But just recognizing those warning signs is so important, and then saying something.
And let's talk about that in general, just the warning signs. So if you've been thinking about certain things, or can we talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. Many times when people are having thoughts of suicide, they may withdraw from regular activities. They might be sleeping a little more or less, have changes in eating. They may not be going to work or going to activities that they usually enjoy. On the other hand, sometimes when people have made up their mind that they are choosing to die by suicide, they might suddenly feel better and act really happy. And that, just any of those changes, you're never going to go wrong by saying, hey, I've noticed that suddenly you seem a lot happier, or you're missing work and I'm not seeing you at this club we used to enjoy. Is everything okay? Are you having thoughts of suicide? Can I connect to you to help? I really care about you. So it's never going to be a bad time to ask that question.
Can we talk about the phone line?
Absolutely.
Who's answering my phone call?
Sure.
Because I think that might be kind of a barrier to having someone give that phone call.
Everyone who answers our crisis line is professional staff with at least a bachelor's level training, and then our own crisis center training, so that they have the skills to provide the best support to people in crisis. We also provide assist training to all of our staff, which is a suicide first aid training. We stay up to date on the latest trends, and our counselors are excellent. They are often people who are in this field because they really care about this work or may have their own personal connection to this kind of work. So when you call for the first time, you're going to talk to somebody. Yes, they're a stranger, but they are there because they care about helping you.
Let's talk about the community. How can we help support Foundation 2?
Word of mouth is the best way to share information about our services. And I like the opportunity to do these interviews because there may be somebody struggling who didn't know that, oh, the service is available. I didn't know I could call anytime and just talk to somebody. So letting people in your life know about services, of course, financial support is always appreciated because it allows us to do the work that we do.
And you do great events all throughout the year. Can you tell us maybe what you're working on right now for the next upcoming months?
Sure. Well, we are also working on a lunch and learn with Mount Mercy University, so that will be happening in September. We'll have some other things coming up. Check our Facebook page or our website to stay up to date with the events that we have going on.
You did talk specifically about some events, and like we said, World Suicide Prevention Awareness Day, that's going to be coming up on September 10th. You said you're working on some other things as well. Tell us about that.
Sure. We showed the film, The Kids We Lose, recently. It's about the school districts and kids that might need a little extra support. That was very well received. We're looking at doing that again. Some of the events we have are responding to unmet community needs that maybe we haven't even seen yet. So I don't have a lot of other things to share right now, but there will be some excellent things coming up.
So once again, how someone can learn about all the services that we've talked about today at Foundation 2.
Yes. Foundation2.org, our Facebook, we're on Twitter, we have Instagram, we're all over social media.
And we wanted to talk to, maybe we can break some of this down, our independent living support services. Tell us about that.
That program, again, supports young people who have aged out of foster care. So you think about when you turn 18 and you don't have supports in the community, you don't have family or other people, how do you learn the skills that you need to live independently successfully? How do you apply for that first job or go to school? How do you know how to apply for student loans? How do you balance a checkbook? These are all the kinds of things that young people in our community are struggling with. And so our staff can support them through those things. They have classes, they have one-on-one support. And then we have this great partnership with Junior League where they have suitcases of everything you need when you get your first apartment. So when these young people join our program, they are provided with the pots and pans and the bedding and the things that you need to be able to live successfully on your own.
How does someone qualify for that program?
If someone is unsure if they qualify, I'd encourage them to connect with our staff, because if they aren't a great fit for that program, we know about other resources in the community too. Sometimes there are youth who are at our youth shelter. They can be between 11 and 17 who then turn 18 when they're at shelter. And there's that transition directly from our shelter to the independent living support program sometimes as well.
So again, where someone could learn a little bit more, or maybe just that first phone call,
Sure.
How do they find you and where are you located at?
They can find us online. I would encourage people to call the 319-362 2174 number. Anytime, day or night, someone is always there for you. If it's the middle of the night and you don't want to wake up your friends or family, or you're having a tough time, please call us. There's always a counselor there, happy to support you and connect you with some of those other resources we offer or that other people in the community offer as well.
A wonderful resource, a great support for this community foundation too. Elisabeth, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This has been Mediacom News Leaders, your opportunity to get the full story from the most reliable sources exclusively on Mediacom News Leaders.